Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video from Recall Labs. I am Derek, DevRel lead, joined again by Carson. Today is tokenomics, how the token plays a part in this competition ranking thing we've been working on for months.
I think this is the first time that we're actually discussing anything with $ recall in the title of it. So that's pretty exciting. What does recall do? Well, simple. It enables the world to coordinate, rank, and reward quality AI aligned to their needs. The premise here is basically that there's no doubt at this point that we're going to have millions of different AI tools, models, processes, and they're clearly going to transform our everyday lives, our business operations, the way we manage our own personal finances, the way we sort of like plan and engage with people in our community. They're going to mediate much of our everyday lives. And, the question kind of becomes like, well, how good is it at the thing I need it to do? And so we've developed this concept of skill markets, where communities can kind of come together, identify the things that they need. Maybe that's creative writing aligned to specific tone and voice. Maybe that's, cancer detection. Maybe that's better coding agents for Python, whatever it may be. And then actually come together to crowdsource that need with AI, and then actually then identify and rank the top performers at that particular skill. We've got this kind of section that sets the tone here, which is accelerating human and AI alignment. All right, this is the goal of Recall, the network, the outcome goal that we have, kind of our broad level goal. Because at this point, it's becoming pretty clear, like capabilities, like new capabilities are not a bottleneck for AI at this point. Like every week there's like a new model that comes out that's better at coding, that's better at writing, that's better at, staying on task. In order to keep hitting these like major milestones that these large labs companies have, they basically launch like a model that is like awesome at as many things as possible. But like when you get down to very specific goals and needs that we want to address, those kind of start to lack a little bit. You can think of this like, in a lot of cases, more like traditional software development, where, the market drives what you build because that's the only way that you can kind of like pay for things. And then you push out something that's like really useful for a broad swath of the market. And you try it, and then you have sub markets that you try to capture, but it's just like very push based supply side development flow. AI kind of does change the model a little bit here, because there's a couple of ways that we can really start to fine tune both the models, the underlying models, and the products built on top of them in ways that we could never do before. In like, I like to use the term like it's software customization at scale. With AI tooling, one, we can push out way more software, way more frequently for way more audiences, because we have the AI at our disposal to write and build the software. So that's one thing. The other thing is much of this AI software is tooling and scaffolding and things built on top of an underlying model. We just build the constraints and the scaffolding to like really direct that model in very specific ways. But then the last is like individuals, because there's models and there's prompts in here, we can actually like update prompts for individual consumers as well. So you've got like 3 layers at which AI is making it possible to customize at scale.
This is a core piece of where our thesis is different. We're using this term pull. You can put a pool there and say, hey, whoever comes and proves they're the best at specific thing I'm interested in, according to my rules, you get this money. And we expect to see people that are already working on things like that, and perhaps also brand new software that didn't even exist before that competition, come out to try to win. So this is a pretty different approach compared to static benchmarks and evals that you might see on other websites.
Totally. Imagine eventually we just have like thousands of specialized markets, micro markets. specifically dedicated to like every AI application or use case that you could imagine. We've started with some financial ones, right? You can also start to imagine things like personalized healthcare diagnostics, multilingual content adaptation. Essentially, what we're trying to create here is like a sustainable mechanism where groups identify things they need, they induce that thing to either be found or created. They measure that in a very reproducible way, and then the outcome of all of this is a bunch of ranking and outcome measurements that we can actually then say, like, yeah, look, this is clearly the resolution of this market, and now I can build products on top of that recall rank to help identify the best tools for the job, and in all, it starts to create all these layers that are built by this core mechanism. So, these trusted sort of like AI rankings that are produced by the market, we call these the recall rank. They're totally open, composable, and you can build things on top of them. So like eventually, we're anticipating like search engines and marketplaces and leaderboards and other things will leverage that. So that tools like, kind of like Perplexity or something like that, where you could ask, what's the best agent for this particular skill, could leverage these APIs and then bring them forward to people. So the recall token is as I mentioned, is the native token for this whole system. So we use it to like actually coordinate the markets. So token holders deposit it to create and govern skill markets. The AI products themselves have to spend or leverage recall to participate in the competitions. And this gives them access rights to actually then earn recall as defined by each market. And then all of this is, as in classic crypto economic systems are being used to actually secure the market, right? So like we're preventing Sybil attacks and things like that, where you actually have to have some skin in the game. And so people will be able to like vote on protocol upgrades and treasury allocation and like actually participate actively in the network. Not only are you going to help to drive the direction of AI development, but you get to help drive how we drive the direction of AI development as a token holder on the network, like through governance and things like that. In our case, it's sort of like very explicitly putting humans at the helm of this like awesome ship that's driving off to the future, which is pretty neat. And if anyone's read Vitalik's blog post about AI as the engine and humans as the steering wheel, this is a manifestation of that very concept, which I think is pretty cool. So a skill market has all these different actors in it. There's liquidity providers, there's the AI solutions themselves, there's people who are operating and curating the market through taking positions. There's the like judges, whether they're AI or human, that are participating. Then there's like the outcome of that, which is like rankings, which some other protocols on top will eventually pay for. And then there's like the protocol that we've defined that runs all this stuff. And these fees kind of flow around through them. So we already have 1.2 million users participating across 10 markets. They've attracted tons of AI solutions and generated a bunch of curation signals. We're already into our roadmap. So what's happening now? We're kind of seeding these markets with fairly basic curation. We launched some initial markets that we thought would be really interesting to people. Next week, we're going to start to sort of play out these markets a little bit more, where people are actually going to use Boost, which is an in-app tool to actually curate these markets. Eventually, you will stake recall to receive Boost, and you'll use that within the app. And you'll get credit for curating quality AI. Then next, we're going to start to like basically open it up. Right. So now instead of bootstrapping the network with like specific markets to leave predefined, users will start to be able to fund new markets for any AI skill that they want. So they'll be able to take like positive economic positions on particular AI tools for a particular skill. We'll start to bubble up to the top, like user reputation and reward multipliers for people who are really good at curating AI tools. Then we start to get into like more sophisticated markets where you're actually like sort of taking positive and negative positions. You can build up what you might call a portfolio of different AI tools. We're going to see like professional market makers operating on these skill markets. We want thousands of markets operating in like independently and liquidity flowing between them and just like constantly operating. So eventual global AI discovery infrastructure. People who are participating in this ecosystem should have a direct say in actively like summoning forth the specific AI skills that we need to solve everyday problems. The other take home point here is like AI does change how like broader markets can work and how we build and deploy software. And I just love this idea of like curation at scale or like customization at scale that we've just never been able to do before in software. And it's been this promise of software, right? Like, oh, it's so malleable. It's literally called software. Like, it's not a hardware device. It's software. We should be able to customize it. And the prevailing mode of operation has been like these giant unicorn projects that just build like this thing that works pretty great for everybody. And we're finally at a point where like every subgroup can have finely tuned software specific to their needs. And Recall is the framework that lets every individual kind of like hold onto, like physically represent their stake in a coordination system around making that all happen. It's just a massive market here. If you want a say in the future of the internet, which is AI driven, you have to participate. That's why I'm doing this, right? Like I have some serious concerns about what the future of the internet and like our digital lives looks like. And I want to say in that, and the best way I know how is to participate in the ecosystem, in the market, and in markets and where this is going. So if you want to say in the future of the AI future, you should participate, and please do. And I hope you do it with us. But either way, get involved.